Hey, it's me again, back with volume 2 of my documenting my relationship that I've engaged in with a very wonderful human being named Temple. So, we are in week 3 of our relationship, and I can officially call it a relationship because a few days ago he officially asked me if I was interested in dating exclusively. And I was like, man, yes, Um, and as a testament to the transparency of our relationship, I was honest with him and told him that I did have a friend um, that I needed to inform that we could no longer be friends. And he received it. He didn't question or sound like he was incredibly concerned that I would, in fact, do that. So since my last video, whoa, so much has happened. Temple and I have continued to be consistent and transparent. We are establishing what he calls a pattern, which is so crazy because I speak a lot about patterns in relationships, specifically when you question if your partner is, you know, present or drifting away and things like that. There are these patterns that your partner tends to break from that may not always be a 911, but can sometimes be an indicator that the relationship is drifting. And so to hear him use my terminology was really cool. But he spoke about patterns, and the way it came up was he called me one evening when I was asleep. So again, we're in the corona social distancing quarantine situation. And so we have very limited contact. We have plenty of virtual contact, but very no physical contact other than what I told you guys about in the last video when we met on my stoop 6 feet apart to make sure that we weren't being catfished. Um, and so we were. He called me when I was asleep one evening, and usually we talk in the evenings. And I woke up maybe 90 minutes or so after, maybe 2 hours after he had called, and it was late into the evening. And me not really knowing how late he stays up and everything, I didn't want to assume I can just call him at 10:30 at night or whatever. And so I didn't. But what I did do was I went online and I don't know if he knew that I was awake or that I'd seen his message. Maybe because he has that indicator on his phone that lets him know when someone has seen a text message. I'm not sure how he knew that I had seen his missed call, but or that I was up and active. But he texted me and he said, "I hope everything is okay. I'll talk to you soon." And that let me know he was awake. So I text back. I want to say I text back, or maybe I called back. Maybe I called back because I realized then that he was awake. So we'll just say I called back. So much has happened, I can't remember, but the gist of the story still holds up. So I called back and he sounded a little concerned, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, I just need you to understand something." And he said that I would never ask you to do anything that I would not do in return. And I'm like, "Okay." And he said, "I can't get to you right now, and that bothers me." You know what I mean? A little. And also, we're in the process of establishing these patterns that will, ultimately be our vibe, or, our flow of our relationship. And so when you see that I've called you, I don't care what time it is, call me back. I don't want to, that's what it was. Maybe I text back, and then he called me. He said, "Call me back." And the way he said it was so, like he said it from his heart, not from his pride or from his head. I could hear the concern in his voice, which he was honest about. He said, it's part of my concern is because I want to know that you're okay. And the other part of my concern is that I'm starting to fall deeper into this relationship, and I want to know that we are solid. We're on the same page, and we got this flow going. And I was just listening to him like, wow, I don't think I've ever had a man, like other than my father, I don't think I've ever had a man talk to me about his fear from a place of his feelings, and not just like, if I call you, call me back, this kind of thing. It was like, listen, I care about you, and I'm in the process of establishing a life with you, and I need you to call me back when I call you. And the way he said it was just so mature and so transparent. I was almost speechless. And so after he got done saying what he was saying, I said, absolutely. I understand that. And I thanked him for the way that he said it. And I don't even think he even thought twice about how he said it. He just said it the way he naturally communicates with me from his heart. And I was like, wow, this is, so another reason that this really was paramount to me is because I always tell people who are entering into a new relationship, you have to kind of vet your new partner. It takes a while. I have this theory that it takes 3 conversations before you'll be ready to meet someone in person, and then it takes 3 weeks or so of being in a person's physical space and that kind of thing, through the dating process, to know if that's someone that you could seriously be in a relationship with. And then it takes about 3 months to know if this is someone that you could actually marry. It's just the nature of things, and that's not slowing things down, but that's at least 3 weeks and 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. I just have this. Plus, I like the number 3. But so the reason that resonated so much with me was because I tell my singles, you have to go through a couple of vetting processes. One of the things is, in fact, what Temple referred to, which is the pattern. Does the person that you're talking to give you complete access to them? Can you call or text them anytime and they'll reply? Is there only certain times of day where they'll talk to you on the phone, but maybe after certain hours they don't? Do they only talk to you when they're at work, but not when they're at home? There are these patterns that you have to look beyond, no matter how good it feels, because relationships feel good in the beginning, especially when you click. You have to come out of your heart and go into your head a little and go, okay, is this the pattern of someone who is single and unattached? And so, that resonated with me, because one of the things I say is that you have to know how you all disagree. And that may sound like, nothing you want to talk about in the beginning when it's all warm and fuzzy, but you have to learn experience how your partner disagrees. Do they fight fair? Are they grudgeful? Do they pull away when they are challenged emotionally by you, or do they lean in? And when he responded to me like that, it was just like, whoa, he leaned all the way in. And so that's just another confirmation that Temple and I are on the verge of something very beautiful. And so something else happened. This is week 3. Like I said, we've been going back and forth consistently. Our pattern is actually beautiful. He doesn't crowd me. I don't crowd him. And so a beautiful thing happened last night. We were on the phone, and he was just talking. And I interrupted him and I said, Temple. And it got quiet for a second. And I said, I need to say something to you, because I've been holding back saying it for about maybe 5-6 days now. And I'm not a person who holds back what I have to say. Like, the truth and love is real. I don't feel like I have to say what I have to say however it comes out. I am mindful of my words, but I'm not someone who keeps in things. So I said, Temple, I'm going to say this to you, and I don't expect a response back. And this is not about you saying anything back to me or anything like this. I'm saying this to you because of what I need to say. And because if it was anyone else, I would have said it a long time ago. I said, I love you. And that for me felt it felt like a release, because I do love him. It's still in that place where I love him like I love a close acquaintance. Like he's entered that place in my life where I think about him all the time. I worry about if he's okay out here with the virus. I imagine our time together physically and things like that. Like I love this man. And in my head, I had been saying it like, Ty, you love Temple. But I had to make sure that it was, that I felt comfortable saying it when I said it. And again, I really did not expect anything from him in return. And so in return, after I said it, he was really quiet and he said my name. And, he's like, TY. And I'm like, yeah. And after a long pause, I said, are you okay? Like, I thought maybe I freaked him out. And he was like, ugh. So he said, I first want to say, I love that you love me. And so in my head, I'm thinking he's about to say but, or some sort of transitional, you know what I'm saying, phrase. And he said nothing for about 45 seconds. So I said, babe, are you good? And he said, hold on 1 second. Don't say anything, babe. Which I have to admit I thought was beautiful. I don't know why, something about the way that, like, that's the way a man controls conversation, He just asked me to give him a second. And so I did. And it was a long silence, maybe 45 seconds. He says, I love you too. And I'm a little upset with myself because I wanted to tell you this a long time ago. I have loved you for a minute now, but I didn't feel like, I felt like my manhood got in the way. And I'm like, no, you can't tell her that now because she's not this and that. Like, he was second guessing it also, which is, again, confirmation that this relationship is growing mutually. Our emotions, our time, our efforts are being reciprocated. It's just a beautiful thing. And so I am, when I recorded the last video, I was going out on a limb because I felt good about what we could possibly have. And now in week 3, I have no doubt that this could very well be my husband. And I also say that because he brought up to me the other day this question that let me know that he sees me the same way. He said, babe, do you want a large wedding or do you want to have something small and just you and I? First of all, that's the question that a man who's ready will ask. He will initiate that conversation because he sees you as his wife, someone who could be his wife, and he wants to plan. And like, in my head, I was thinking maybe he's asking that question because he's thinking about a budget or a timeline, or, I really didn't go deeper into it. But he asked me how I envision our wedding being. And I said, I just want to do something really small. I did the big wedding thing. It ultimately added up to nothing, but a lot of money spent. And I told him, I just want to just be you and I, and, we do this between us, knowing that we got us. And he said, I agree. And he was like kind of relieved, which tells me that even in this relationship's infancy, this man is preparing himself for a life with me. So I want to backtrack a little bit. When he asked me to be exclusive and if we could date exclusively, before I lost my thought. So before he asked me if we could date exclusively, he said, Ty, would you be my lady? And I said, yes, under one condition. Now, we had already talked, as per my guidelines, about our intentions for dating. We both are looking to get married should the right person. We both said that we were wanting to get married if the right person came along. This is in when we first just started chatting. And so I already knew he was marriage minded, but it takes a while for you to know if you're the one he sees himself marrying, right? There's nothing you can do to control that. A man chooses his wife. And so when he asked me if I wanted to be his lady, I said, yeah, but under one condition. And he said, yes. And I said, I am dating to find my husband. And if you're just trying to, and if that's not what you're looking for with me, then I would rather not be exclusive. And he said specifically, or I quote, Tanya Richardson, something like, ain't nobody playing with you. This is going to be my last relationship. And he did. He said, I want my next relationship to be my last relationship. And so, like I said, I keep saying transparency because so many people have relationships where they think about talking to their partner about something, but they don't. Or they, they don't really test the merit of the relationship early on when it really matters. Like, this is the time when you want to put your real self out there. Your representative will not get you the partner of your dreams. Your representative will get you separated or divorced in a year or two. I refuse to enter into another superficial relationship, and I refuse to enter into a relationship with someone who I don't see as being my husband. And I'm just happy to report that as this journey continues, he continues to speak life and love into me. Last night we actually said it, Temple, I love you. Ty, I love you too. And it just felt so good hearing the words come out of his mouth with the sincerity that he said them. And just to hear his voice and those words being said to me, it felt very powerful. And so I will continue this documentary of this relationship for full transparency, and because I wanted to give people hope. I want, I'm 46 years old, he's 50 plus. And, we talk all the time about how we've been through hell to get to a place where we're ready for what we now have found, but also for where we're able to see it when it's right in front of us. And I just want to let everybody know I'm happy. I told a couple of close friends about him yesterday, and they know how I am. Like, I'm someone who I don't hold back when it comes to love. I love love, and I'm in heavy pursuit of my partner, and not because I feel incomplete without my partner. It's because I'm a wife. I'm not a girlfriend. And being in a relationship with me means you're going to be treated like a husband. And so I've learned that I have to be selective about who I allow to be my man, because he's going to get 100%. And I've experienced it in the past where I didn't get 100% back. And I love really hard. So it takes me a little while to bump my head enough in a relationship to finally let it go. But when I let it go, I'm done. Like, I don't double back. And he told the same story about himself and about how he's been taken advantage of, and how he loves hard and intentionally and things like that. And so I just want to say that love, the love is real. The love is out there, people. Please don't feel discouraged. You do have to put yourself out there. Like I said, we met on Plenty of Fish when I was actually doing a single search for my dating business. So I said to myself, okay, through doing these interviews with men that I meet, if they're not for me, I'm going to introduce myself as a matchmaker and say, hey, I don't think you and I have a vibe, but I am establishing this database of qualified single women like myself, and I would love to talk to you about how that works. So I had honestly 10 guys before Temple that I had interviewed, and nah. And then I met Temple, and I was like, okay, this dude, he's staying with me for a minute. I'm gonna try this on for a minute, and it fits wonderfully. So the love is real. Please don't give up. Please don't have a hard heart. You have to date with well-intended, I should say. Date with a purpose. I'll say that. Date with a purpose. But even in this age of the social isolation, Temple and I are dating from the inside out. We don't have physical touch. We don't have that. And so it's forcing us to date from the heart and the mind, and then embrace the physical part of it later, which is just beautiful. So I asked last video, if you are so ready for love that you let go of superficial things, like how much money he makes, how tall or short he is, if he's heavy or not, if he looks like the person that you usually go for. Are you ready enough for love that you look past that to see a person's character, to allow them to show you who they are? And I said last video, I'm ready. I am. And so the question I ask this video is, I wrote it down. How do you know when you love your new partner? And my answer to that is simply, you know. But one of the things you can do to make sure that you're loving the right person is it needs to be reciprocated. Even before the words are spoken, their contact with you needs to be reciprocated and even. The conversation about your relationship needs to be even. Both of you need to be on the same page about where the relationship is going, and you need to have a few uncomfortable conversations to get you there, but you need to get there. even. It needs to be even, I should say. And if it's not, then I think that you may lust that person. But to say that you love someone who is not reciprocating and not showing you the same level of affection and attention back is, I don't see that as love. Not a healthy love. So I had this rule before I go. I had this rule that I would never tell a man that I love him first. And that rule went completely out the window because I promised myself when Temple and I first made our agreement to be exclusive that I would give him all of me every day. And like I told him, I couldn't continue to hold back the words. They were going around and around in my head. You love Temple. Temple, I love you. Like I was saying it in my head, but I wasn't letting it come out my mouth because I had this rule where I wanted him to say it first. But I knew in my heart that this man loved me. Even before he told me that he had been thinking about it and didn't want to say it and all this other stuff, I knew it. I said it because I knew it. I knew he felt the same way. So this is Truth and Love TY, powered by Matched by TY. And I'll be back with another episode, but answer that question. How do you know when you love someone? Not when they love you. How do you know when you love your new partner? How do you know that it went from a crush to love? See you soon.